I get asked a lot about how can I support family and friends, and it's a hard one to answer because everyone's so individual. For me, I really appreciated my mom flying out and cooking me meals and cleaning and taking care of me. And I talk about that in the show, and it actually made us closer. And I really needed people at chemotherapy and cold cupping and things because I was the youngest one there every time. And it's a long day. It starts at my hospital, which is like kind of like it's just so not, it's a really great facility. So they do your blood work right away, and then you get your results right away, and it goes right to your doctor. You see your doctor every time, and then you get approved for, or not approved, depending on how it's going, what your blood work says. And you go to the chemo area, and so I personally really needed my people there that were supportive. And then at my house, I really needed my people there. So we would go home and I'd have to cold cap. So it's like you're freezing your hair, and so you have to change it for at least 4 more hours. So it's tedious and long. So we made it kind of like a party atmosphere a little bit, after. So the person that drove me home, or the person that was there, we did yoga. I had one time there were about 7 people, and we had my mom cooked dinner, and we all had dinner and together, and it was just really fun in the midst of this horrible situation that we're there for, that I was experiencing and that they were there for. So for me, that's what I needed. I hated getting flowers. They were like, that was the worst, because it felt like people were saying, we're sorry to hear about your impending death. Because it felt like a funeral was happening, and the notes were like, we're so sorry, and it was like, just, that's me though. Some people love flowers, and the flowers were great when I finished. If I had, received a bouquet or something like that, like congratulations. And I think one of my brother and my sister-in-law sent flowers at that point, and that was like, it's uplifting, because it's like an event that is a positive thing. And they came out, even though I had my port and I was still having infusions of Herceptin, they flew out, and the whole family was here, and we had, we pulled the slip and slide out, and we slid through that, and it was like such a great envelopment, I guess you'd say, of love and caring and kindness. For me, that's what I needed. Now, some people don't want anyone there. They don't want people at the chemo area. They don't want people, calling or showing up. Like I have a scene in my show where I talk about how, so during chemotherapy, it was when I found out I had to do chemotherapy, this is actually from my show. It was a really dark time for me. I sat at home alone in the dark, not wanting to be around anyone. And then there was a knock on the door. And it was actually, in my show, it's an amalgamation of 2 people. Actually several people, but in reality, it was a really good friend of mine who showed up and was like, she's home alone. No. And she showed up and brought me, I can't remember if she brought tea or not, but she just was there, and she was there for hours. And we chatted and talked. I showed her my boobs, because I showed everyone my boobs. At this point in life, I was showing everyone my boobs. So, it's nothing like cancer to make you love your breasts, right? And your body. Actually, that's another line from my show. I really appreciated that. And so much so that it's in my show, and it's a main part of my show. Because on the other spectrum, I was getting things like people saying, "Oh, you'll just get a set of new boobies, and you live in LA, so what did you expect?" I had a friend tell me about her, some woo-woo kind of nutritional thing she was doing, and they told her about nuts and inflaming the immune system, and then can't have, the body doesn't have the ability to fight cancer cells. I'm like, if you knew how the immune system works, that is not accurate. It's so crazy, the things that people say. So for some people, it's really important to have their people there, and then others, it's not. So it's really specific to what a person needs and wants. My friend gave me notebooks, and that's really what I started. So my doctors all said, write down every side effect you have so you'll know, and every week you'll know what to experience and everything. So that ultimately became my show, Chemo Barbie, because I hand wrote everything, and I went through all my notes and all the side effects and what I was experiencing, and it was my thoughts and stuff. And then I had the video journal, and that's part of that is in my show, and so it really, for me, that was what I needed. But I'm also an actor writer, so it's different per person. Some people think, oh, I'll just send some gifts and that'll be good. And for me, that is not what I need. What I need is a person physically there, making me a meal, being there. And I think it also comes down to how there's there's something, if you can Google it, I think there's something called the ways that people experience love, or there's different ways of how people need to be shown love and how they express love. And I am the type that definitely needs the person there, needs more, I guess, in conversations, and more I don't need a gift sent to me. I am more of a talker, more of a thinker, so I need that kind of expression, and that is experienced through someone physically being there. My husband was there every step of the way. Drove me crazy at times, couldn't stand him at times, and I would say it to his face, and I talk about this in the show too. In the show, I actually call him, he's referred to as the German dictator, and that's what I need. But for other people, it's I'm gonna send you a blouse, and that's great, and that's how they experience love, and that's how they experience life. For me, like I said, I need my person there. So as I said, it's a very difficult question to answer. Sometimes at the end of my shows and Q&As, and also online, people ask me, my father was diagnosed, or my sister was diagnosed, and it doesn't matter what type of cancer, or it's a traumatic experience. My mom had a heart attack, my dad did this, and they ask me what can I do to help? So you have to really know that person and kind of see how they experience things in life and love, and then go from there. But ultimately, it is making sure that you are there in some form, one way or another. I guess that's the kind of through line, is sort of how can you be there if you for that person. And also, people have limits, I have a friend who I don't even talk to anymore, not on my end, on their end, and it's because they were like, I have kids, and I'm like, okay, well, that's you, and now I know that about you, and that's fine. They would say, oh, I'm so sorry, I feel really bad, and then I was helping them feel better. And I'm like, I'm the one that's going through this. I don't have time to take care of you while you're having anxiety about not being able to be there, So it's an interesting question. And like I said, there's really no one answer. All I know is, from my perspective, I appreciated my friend who knew me so well to give me a notebook and pens and pencils, and she knew that about me. She knew that I shouldn't be alone in the dark, so she came to my house. My brother flew out. Even though he had a job, he brought his whole family out on top of it, and it really meant the world to me, because I was like, you're here, you see my port, you see how skinny I am, you see how gray I am, you're seeing me, you're here. my friend who happened to, her job kept bringing her out for work, well, she would extend her trips and she would stay with me, and she went to radiation with me, and she lives in England. So she flew here, and that means the world to me. I'm the type, like if I had someone going through it, I would fly there and I would go there. If I can and when I can, I would make it an exception to do it, because first of all, you don't know how long that person's gonna be there, right? And I know myself, and for me, that's how I express love. I physically have to be there. I physically have to go and say, hey, what can I do? I'll cook you a meal. I will go shopping for you. But that's how I experience life and love. Other people may not. So it's really kind of a, like I said, it's a hard one to answer. Sending cards and presents are great, but and checking up. But for me, it's more like FaceTime is good. I don't want to get a text message because that's not personal enough. A great check-in, like, hey, how you doing, is great. But if you're really close with somebody, like your sister or your brother, FaceTime them. Like I was in the hospital over the summer in August with anemia from partially my cancer medications interacting with my flu that I had. So my brother FaceTimed. And it meant the world to me, because I'm like, that's what I need. Some family member sent me like some funny little thing, and I was like, oh, that's cute, but you're not calling and you're not FaceTiming me, so it's not really helping me in any way. And it's not like, I'm not trying to judge, I'm trying to say, like, from me, if you knew me, I am a person that needs, I experience love and express love by being there, whether it is video chat or it is physically being there or it is flying across the country or from another continent to be there. You could even ask the person and say, hey, how do you experience love? If you ask them that, they might be like, I don't know. But it kind of starts a conversation, and then maybe they'll go and like figure out how they experience love, and then be like, I am a person that experiences love through physical gifts. Okay, well then I'll send you a gift, because that is what it means for that person. So that would be supportive for them. So I hope that's helpful. I don't know if it is. Yeah. Have good days.